All right, good peoples, welcome to lighting training 101, I guess. Anyways, here we go. The point of this training here is for us to ultimately learn how to go from envisioning what we want the lights to do um, to programming and execution. So there's one thing, it's one thing to envision it, it's another thing to program it, and the last thing is executing it, because all of those kind of have to play hand in hand, right? And so for us, that envisioning part, I think is probably the part that's been the hardest for us right now. Is what is what is what is it that the lights what is it that the lights can do, right? So that we know that we can envision it, right? And then programming it can be complicated, but it's not crazy. And then executing is, if you don't program it right, execution becomes more problematic, right? Cool. So anyways, always with lights, we want to go to the touch panel to the left hand side, to preset 6. That turns all the lights off so that we have full control of them. Cool. So this is our base. Um, and so when we're talking about lighting and the order of service, it's always about, it's the biggest thing for me is starting with our base, right? Starting with our base. And so on the touch panel on the side here, we have our quad mix and our quad cue list. So if we go to, of course, y'all already know this, right? Go to quad mixed. Yeah. We can go to quad mixed, and then well, let's just start the day, right? So I'm rebuilding some things, but I'm doing it intentionally, right? So under quad mixed, we can say, hey, at the beginning of the day, we know we're going to be playing a video because we went through the order of service, right? So I'm under quad mixed, and I have all these different groups that have already been prepared for us. And I can look for something that's called house. Number 9 is house. I click on that, it's green, right? And then I can come over to the big scroll wheel, and I can start rolling that up. Before I even do that, when I click on house, if I look under fixture levels, you'll see that certain things turn red. Anything that's red means I have manual control over it. Anything that's blue means something else, some other cue list, some other preset, some other cue list has control over it. Cool? So if I take house off, if I clear everything, right? If I clear everything, and then when I click on house, you'll see that all of those, oh, that's right, they turn green because I've selected them. But as soon as I start adding something to it, I started moving the wheel, then it's saying, hey, you've done a manual change to these fixtures in particular. I just want you to know that. So that's the significance of the red. Cool. So at the beginning of the day, when everybody's walking in, we want enough light for them to be able to walk in, right? So I'm just kind of arbitrarily scrolling this up until it says something that makes sense. I like whole numbers, so maybe 90%, 80 and 90%, right, is something that we can work with here. Another cool way to adjust this is if I zoom in here, I have those fixtures selected over here. If I come to the number pad, I can do the @ symbol, and then I can type in a number. So like, let's say I want it to be specifically all those lights to be at 90%. I type in 90, and then I can see here in the scribble strip right below inside of the touch panel on the small touch panel, I see at 90. When I hit enter, then all of our lights have now turned to 90%. Same difference, I can do at 10%, and then all of our lights go to 10%. So that's just a quick way for us to be able to get to a value that we want, a known value very quickly, if you happen to know it. Yeah, because we're programming it, right? So this isn't a way to do it live per se, but it's a way to it's a way to program it quickly. Cool. So this is the way I want it to look. I don't necessarily need much on the stage. Well, let's just give them some stage. So, like, we know some people are going to be kind of walking on the stage. Maybe some people want to take pictures of the comeback symbol, right? That's a perfectly reasonable thing. So under my groups up here, I can click on 11 happens to be stage all. So now I can click on that, and you'll see in the fixture levels, I can see that some other lights have been chosen, and I'm gonna start using the scroll wheel, and I'm gonna start rolling those guys up. And you'll notice like I had to get to like almost 50% before I started seeing them on the stage, right? So that's down to 0. And in fact, I can do the numbers, right? So I can do that at 10%, right? So I don't see anything, right? So at 20%, I still don't see anything. At 30%, I barely start seeing something at 30%. So just be mindful, like some of our fixtures operate at different thresholds, right? It's not just linear. It's zzz, and it might exponentially grow taller, right? Brighter, anyways. But anyways, so they're on the stage. So I might want to put them at 50% because that makes enough sense to me. They're not tripping over each other. This is for people to maybe even 60%. For people to maybe take pictures of the comeback sign. I'm down with that. The last little bit I probably want to tweak is the ambient, the stage ambient. I happen to know what these lights are, right? Because I label them. But these are lights that are right above the choir loft. If you look at it now, like that choir loft is just really, really, really dark. It can feel like it's too dark, right? So I'm gonna grab number 8, which is stage ambient, and I just want enough light so that people can actually just see that it's something, right? So I'm gonna put that at maybe at 30%. And it did nothing. Why did it do nothing? Oh, it did move? Let me do it at 80 right now. Okay, it did. Okay, so at 30, at 50, yeah, 50. This way, at least it's kind of balancing our stage, right? It doesn't feel like, if I do this at 0, it just feels dead up top. But now if I put this back at, what did I say, 50? Mm-hmm. Yeah, at 50, at least there's a more gradient. There's a more of a better transition between our house and our backup stage. Anyways, cool. So let's imagine that now this is kind of what I want. Cool. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leverage under the touch panel here. On the left-hand side is our action buttons, really. In the top left is record. I'm here record. And then inside of the small touch screen here, I have these buttons here that are modifiers. I can insert, replace, remove, or merge if I wanted to. So these are optional things. So if I wanted to insert these settings into another cue list, then I would choose insert, and I want to insert these into that cue list. I want to add these settings to that cue list, right? Same difference. If I wanted to replace it, like, hey, I had a cue list and I jacked it up, but I want to completely erase that one and start over with this, what I've just created, then I would use the replace modifier. If I wanted to remove, I could say, hey, these are the lights that I want to take out of that cue list, right? And then the last one is merge. I want to take whatever these settings are, I want to add it to, I want to combine them to the current cue list.
So what's the difference between insert and merge?
New. Insert is a new. And merge is you're putting it into something existing.
Okay.
I'm just asking, does that?
Because, I mean, to me, it sounds the same. That's why I was asking, is there really a difference? Because you're like the house lights, if you want to add, for the house program, if you want to add the backstage to it, you insert that into what you just did. And then if you want to add the backstage, you're merging it into, or is there a difference?
Let's try it. I'm kind of curious myself. Because I said it, and then you called me on it, which is a beautiful thing. And now I'm like questioning, do I know what insert means? Let's figure it out. Cool. So I'm not going to use a modifier. Because if I don't use a modifier, that means I just want to create a new cue list.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
So in my panel over here, I have fixtures, groups, presets, and then I have cue lists. So I'm just going to find an empty cue list, and I'm going to record this into it. So again, I've already hit the record button, and you see that the record, it's in the top left corner here. Already this button right there. Yeah, I hit this record button. In fact, I hit the record button, and I can see that it's in our syntax dialog here. Then under our cue list pool over here, I'm gonna click a blank one. Cool. When I click a blank one, I have it set to where on the small touchscreen, it immediately asks you what you want to call it. That way we don't have empty cue lists with stuff you don't know what it is. Cool? So I'm going to call this something that we already have. But this is video. This is before service, between services. And because I already have one, I'm gonna do I run out of characters. So between SCRV and then TST for because we're just
Testing it.
yeah, I'm just showing you guys, right? TST. All right, cool. And then I'm gonna choose enter just to select it, and then of course I can see over here we have on number 123 is between service TST. The other thing I want you to notice is all of our lights are still lit up red, right? That's because I still have manual control. The cool thing is I can take this and then I can modify it and save it to something else. So I can start building from here. I'm creating a base, right? And then I can start building that base and just adding new cue lists on that, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Did you hit insert just now too?
No, I didn't. But I plan on it. I plan on it. And so that's our base. So to test this, what I would do now is I would hit the clear button a bunch of times. I just clear, 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 and now we're back to whatever was active, which was nothing, right? Because we're at base. Now I can come over here to the queue list, and I can click on that queue 123, and it brings up exactly what it is that we did.
So now we can insert a spotlight.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try that now. So the reason why, and let's do that again. I'm going to turn it off. You saw that pop? And then I turn it on, it pops, and then it comes on. Those are not, the funny thing with dimmable lights, there are better quality dimmable lights than others. Ours are not the highest quality dimmable lights. Ours will go, and I can actually show you. So I've taken, this is on right now, but I'm going to take over control over house lights. Cool. So now I've grabbed the house lights because I went to the groups panel and I clicked on it. I'm going to scroll until I see those green deals. I can see that they're currently at 90%. Cool. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to get us low. So I'm going to put at like 25% just to get us somewhere, right? So I'm at 25% now. And what we're doing is we're focusing on the lights up top. As I start scrolling down, I'm at 25%. Now I'm at 20, 15, 10, right? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. You see that they're still there. Like they stopped changing. 3, 2, 1. Then they cut off completely. So what I'm getting at is these aren't proper dimmable lights. They can only go down so low. Then they're there, and they're just waiting for the power to go out, and then it just goes to 0. Same difference. Once it gets enough power, it goes boom right over where whatever that minimum is, and then it can go from there. So the minimum is what it jumps to and from. So again, if I go at like 10%, that's as low as it'll go. So yeah, these are our can lights, and they're just throughout all the can lights that are in our sanctuary. Again, they can't go below the minimum brightness. Cool. And so as soon as I go down below that and I go to 0, pops. Oh no, not the can. They're the cloud lights. No, it is the cans. It's random, right? It's just random how they work, right? My point there being, if we have some of these lights on, we want to leave them on. In that we don't ever want to go below like 25%. You understand? Like that'll be the lowest we ever want them to go so that they don't pop off. Make sense? Good stuff. Okay, so now I'm gonna try what Daryl was talking about there. So we have this cue, and let's do this. Let's run through all of the modifiers, okay? So we have this base for the sanctuary, right? Let's build on that. Oh snap! I know exactly what insert is, and it wasn't what I told you. Oh, it was not what I told you. I know exactly what insert is. I digress. Cool. So now what I'm gonna do is I want to let's say that this is our base. Let me tell you exactly what we're gonna do. Okay. I'm gonna use one queue list, and I'm gonna walk through our whole service through one queue list. We used to do this, but I want to show you it again now that I understand some more things. Okay, so this is our sanctuary right here, right? Cool. What's the next thing on our order of service?
Wait, are we jumping from the fact that you're going to take us through each modifier? Are we going to something else now?
Oh, yeah, I did say I was gonna do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do what I just said then. The first thing I said.
Okay.
We're gonna go
Thank
to the
you.
modifiers.
Thank
You
you.
gotta help me because I get excited.
Yeah.
So let's do that first. So, oh, that's the reason why I jumped.
Because you figured out what insert meant and
Yeah,
you got
I'm
excited
like
and you
this, 'cause
wanted
I
to
knew
go
exactly
to
where I wanted
advanced
to go
class.
there.
Yeah.
Man.
But can we do that after you
Okay.
take us through each
Okay.
modifier just to
Okay.
make sure?
Okay. All right, Miss Lori. All right, here we go. And for everybody watching along, thank you all for being patient. Here we go. Again, when I hit the record button, I see these modifiers: insert, replace, remove, and merge. I'm actually going to start on the end, the right hand side, and move to the left because it'll make more sense later. Yeah, cool. So that first one is merge. So this setting is already set. Let's add something. Again, we're going to walk through how to do this later on. Well, not even. We're going to add something simple. Let's add the floor lights. No, I want to add something that's going to be more noticeable. Okay, maybe the center stage. So I'm going to click on the center stage. Yeah, I'm going to click the center stage, and and again, it's only grabbing the center stage lights, right? So those are the only ones that are lit. And I'm going to bump that up to 100%. Cool. And then let's do this as well. I'm gonna take the stage left and stage right, and I'm gonna bring them all the way down. Cool. So that's something that's noticeable. That's a noticeable change, right? Cool. So I made these modifications, and I know they've been changed because they're red. I'm gonna click the record button again, right? I'm gonna click the record button again, right here. And then under the modifiers, I'm gonna choose merge, because now I'm gonna merge these new settings into this queue list that we previously called the Between Services test. So now I click on that guy there, and then it seems like nothing has happened, right? But when I clear it, it also seems like nothing has happened, which is actually perfect. Because this queue list now has these new settings merged into it. So it's no longer just stage down and the stage light down is house at 90% or whatever, and then the stage low. Now I've taken left and right stage down and only the center stage. Same difference. I could grab the LEDs, crank them all the way up to 100%. Again, hit the record button, merge those settings into this guy here. Again, if I clear it, you're not seeing the change because it's merged those changes into it, right? This is a really easy way to fix something. So if I got a queue list and it's like, oh snap, this queue list is just broken a little bit, I'm gonna load it, tweak it, and then merge these settings into or merge or replace these settings, right? Merge is the one that we're talking about here. Okay? So I'm combining things. Cool? So I'm gonna hit the record button one more time, and I'm gonna click on. We're gonna leverage this remove option. Ooh, this is perfect. Cool. So we're gonna leverage this remove option here. Okay. So when I want to remove something, backspace just to get rid of. Since when I hit the record button, the syntax is waiting for a record parameter to be set. I'm not ready for that. I just wanted to walk through what our next modifier is. Cool. Yes, ma'am.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you selected the fixture that you wanted to mess with,
Mm-hmm.
and then you hit record,
Mm-hmm.
and then you did what you wanted to do.
You hit the modifier next after that?
Well, what I did was I had in this situation. Let's imagine that I load. So this is the scene that is active now,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm like, oh snap! I want to tweak something with this scene, what I currently see that's active. Then the first thing I do is I grab it through the fixture pool here, right? I can grab let's grab all these lights, and let's grab all these lights, and I'm gonna change the color to red, right? So that's a hopefully that's a noticeable change.
Mhm.
Or I know purple is. So where's purple at? Cool. There's purple, right? I've changed it to purple because that's what it was really supposed to be. Cool. And I know that these have been modified because they're red. Nothing else is red. And that's okay. That's the only thing I want to merge into that cue list. I can again hit the record button. I want to merge these settings, these new settings, these modified settings into something. What I want to merge it into? This cue list right here. Now I can clear it all, and it's all the same because I've merged these new settings into that. Same difference. I could also merge. I should be able to merge even new lights. So like if I grab, again, we're gonna walk through this here in a little bit, but so if this is something big. This is a big movement, right? Cool. So now I got this spotlight that's going to hit the wall over here because pastor's going to be coming from the ceiling. Cool. I can again hit record. I want to merge that new light into this same scene here. And now, again, if I clear, nothing changes because it's saved, that new whatever. I'm merging, I can merge new things or I can merge current things, I can modify them. It's a way to, man, we haven't been doing this. This is not the way we normally do it. But I'm seeing that there's potential in this methodology. But anyways, yeah, so like if I uncheck it now, the mover goes away, everything goes back to whatever our base was, right? Not base, but whatever the previous thing was. Cool? All right, so that is merged. The next one is replace. Let's say, hey, that mover that we just added really wasn't, Pastor Park really isn't going to do that. So now I can grab this mover, I can take its intensity down to 0, right? You know, I might not even have to do that. Let me just try this. Here we go. I'm just going to click on this mover here, right? I'm going to hit record, and I want to remove that fixture from this cue list. All I've done is, I want to say that this might work. Let's try it. I just want to try to remove this guy from that. I'm going to click it and choose record. It didn't work. Okay, so then I actually have to tell it to do something. So I'm going to take this fixture, this mover that I just have here. I'm going to take intensity down to 0 because now it's red, so something has changed in it. Then I can hit record, remove. I want to remove that. No, that doesn't make sense either. Let me try this. I'm gonna hit record over here. Oh, it did work. Okay, that did do it. Yeah. So now I turn it off. Good stuff. And then I turn it back on. I've removed that setting.
So can you just walk through what you did again?
Absolutely. So, again, let me do the same thing, but backwards, right? So let's imagine Pastor Clark. In this scene right here, Pastor Clark needs a light on that. We need a light on that screen on our left-hand side, right? I'm gonna click on that light. I'm gonna add it right up here, and say this is the light that I want to add. So I'm going back to the merging. This is the light that I want. Perfect. I'm gonna hit the record button. I want to merge this new light into whatever cue list we're working on. This cue list right here. Bet. I can clear it all, and it's in there. Let's imagine again that cue list needs to be. It doesn't need to be that light does not need to be there. I can again select that same light. In theory, I should be able to just. I'm still at 100% with it, and in fact, I want to say I should be able to do everything as is. But anyways, I'm hit record. Remove, and then that cue list. And then I click. No, it still stay there.
You don't have to reduce it from 100?
Yeah, that doesn't, but then merge would have done the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it did get rid of it. Yeah. It did get rid of it. Okay, yeah, it did.
So as long as you hit remove, as long as you label what you want to remove, hit remove, and then save it on that cue, you're good.
You have to tell it what settings you want to remove. No,
Is it the F button?
Yeah.
What was that?
Focus is telling it where to go.
Oh, okay.
Let me try this one more time. So So we in this section right here we have our LED lights. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 LED lights. I want to remove the first 2. Okay. So I have nothing else selected. I'm just going to select that guy. They're both green. They're currently at 100%. I need them to turn red. That's all I need is for them to turn red. So I'm going to scroll back up to 100%. I didn't mean for that to be. It's all good because it's not in the deal. So they're back at 100% of where they were. The biggest thing is I've selected the fixture and I've selected the parameter that I want to let go of, which in this situation is the intensities parameter, right? I want it to let go of that parameter. Cool. I'm hitting record and I'm removing those parameters from this cue list. So now when I hit clear, they should be. They should be because this is you can see this.
They're gone to the right.
Oh, left and right is backwards.
Yeah.
I'm smart. Yes. Okay. Cool. Yes, that's what I meant to do.
I know.
That's exactly what I meant to do. Thank you all. We did it. But I do want you to notice they're still purple because we did not remove
The color.
that color parameter.
Yeah. You
So
just changed it.
what we're doing is we have to tell it what parameter. We have to grab whatever parameter we want to let go of from this cue list. Cool. This becomes more important once you start doing moving lights because there's like 30 parameters inside that one fixture. So there might be a parameter that like, hey, I love what it's doing here, but I need it to let go of the rotating goa or whatever, right? I can go into that and say, let that go. Keep everything else for my next scene, right? So you can imagine, like, what if we had something that was doing its thing, right? But now we wanted to change colors. But I wanted to change colors when I wanted to change colors. That movement is perfect. All I need to do is tell it, save over here, let go of that one parameter, and replace it with a new one. Or you get my point, right? There's ways to keep the good stuff and only replace what you need to replace. Cool. We're building onto something. Cool. All right. What is the next one that we got to work on? Replace. Okay. Replace is really.
We just
strict.
did replace.
No, we did remove, merge, remove.
Remove.
Yeah, we did remove.
Sorry.
You good?
Okay.
Cool. And then the next one we're going to do is replace. Replace is one we've been using, but we haven't necessarily been using it right. Let's imagine again the same scenario here, right? This is the scene that we're in with this between service. Let's imagine that this is completely wrong as far as what's been recorded on 123. Like this isn't between service. This, let me show you. Let me actually now for real. There's some Ricolas in the side here. Yeah, by the microwave. Let's imagine like, oh snap, this isn't between services. This is between services, right? So like we got to make a new one, right? So I'm gonna take stage up. Yeah, because I keep hitting the record button. Stage, I need stage to be all the way up. I need house bit to be all the way down, right? Cool. I mean to go all the way down like that. Perfect. I need all the LED lights to be at 100%, and I want them to be. I need them to be doing something else, right? I just wanted to do something that we can see, right? We're gonna get into this in a little bit, but I just wanted to do.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, good stuff. So now we have all of our lights doing, our LED lights are doing fancy stuff. Everybody's doing something, right? This is what between service is supposed to be, right? In this situation here, we can look like, okay, all these different things have been, are green, are not green. All these different things are red because I've changed them, and I want this to now be the new between. So I want you to ignore everything that's currently in there and replace it with what I'm about to give you. So now, again, I can click on the record button. I'm going to use the modifier replace. I want to replace absolutely everything inside of this cue list with what I have currently, and I hit that right there. So now when I clear, it's just that. Same difference. Ooh, this is interesting. What if all I really meant, and you get the idea there, but I'm just going to take it to another level, right? What if all I really meant was just for the choir lights to be on? That's all I actually meant for this cue to be. Cool? That's all that's supposed to be in this cue. Again, this is an example. I hit record, replace, boom. It got rid of everything that we programmed. And it only put in what we had that was red. The power of this is, and I'm just spitballing and talking here, right? We can in our show of, I'm sorry, it's down here, in our order of service, right? We can have between service hosts, video, da 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 da. Those can stay static, and we can just change it and replace it. Oh, that's what the PC impact is supposed to be. I can change it. I can change it. I can change it. I don't have to hunt for what somebody else did. We can keep the order of service the same always. Yeah, and we just modify it to what it is for today. Cool. You get my point there? Cool. So lots of potential there. I hadn't even thought of all these different things, but I like it.
Because we're your inspiration.
Yeah, y'all just like, oh snap, this is like house. I'm like, oh snap, yeah, I didn't even think about it from that angle. Yeah, I love it, I love it, I love it. Yeah, is everybody following though? That's the biggest thing. Is everybody following? I want to get into the moving lights. That's the fun stuff. Oh, thank you. And so the last modifier is insert. Okay. Insert. So let me just walk you through this right quick. So we have our cue lists over here, right? And so we've been using this one cue list. I want to change its name. I'm going to be talking about the insert record modifier, but before I get to that, I need to explain why there's an insert option. Okay? So yeah, let me do it this way. So if I wanted to get some deeper control over this one cue list, on the right hand side there's a button called open. So I'm gonna hit open. What do I want to open? I want to open up this cue list. So now I'm looking at this guy right here. It is cue list 123 between service TST for test. It's saying it's the Q ID. So the Q number 1 is all we ever look at. It's typically we always only have one queue. Well, it's called a queue list, right? A queue list is fundamentally designed to have a list of queues inside of it. And the way that we've been using it as just one queue in each queue list. But we're not limiting. There's more power, right? And the ability to leverage a queue list so that we can walk through the order of service. The significance of that, let me actually just do it right quick. Let me just do it, and then we'll walk through how we can leverage it. Cool? So I'm just gonna create something. Just follow me, right? So I'm gonna hit load. What I'm doing is I'm just walking through our order of service that we had from last week. Cool? So I'm gonna hit load, and then this is between services, right? I'm gonna record, and I want to record this into a new queue list. Cool? So I'm back on 123, and let me delete 123 real quick. So I'm gonna choose delete 123. Am I sure that I want to delete it? Absolutely. Cool. So now I'm gonna have a blank slate. Cool. So I want to grab this guy. So I'm gonna hit load. Queue list 1, which we have labeled as between services. Cool. I've loaded that guy. I'm gonna hit because I've loaded all of the parameters. You can see it's all red. I'm gonna hit record, and I'm gonna put it on 123, which is what we've been working with. So this is order of service. Service. Hey, it fits. All right, perfect. Order of service. Cool. So now we have this queue called order of service, and I'm gonna clear everything right quick. Cool. Next thing I'm gonna do is, because this has already been built, right? So I'm gonna hit record, not record, but I'm gonna hit load again. Host stage. I'm gonna record all of those settings. Hit record, and I want to record it not into an empty queue. I want to put it right on top of that. So I'm gonna hit the same thing. I'm gonna hit the exact same queue, 123. There's a screen that's gonna pop up here. It says, "Hey, queue list 123 order of service contains only one queue. What would you like to do? Do you want to remove this? Do you want to replace it? Do you want to merge with this last one? Do you want to append as a new queue?" So now we're creating a list instead of the one. It's saying, "Hey, there's only one in here right now. What do you want me to do?" Do you want me to like modify it, replace it, merge it, or whatever, or do you want me to make a second queue list inside of here? In this situation here, I want you to make it as a new queue list, and it's actually going to ask me to label it. Oh, I love it. I love it. This one is called hosts. Cool, hosts. And I'm gonna label it hosts. You can see in here, we have a queue list in there already that's labeled nothing, it's just labeled queue. And then we have one that's labeled hosts, which is the one we just added. Cool. We can actually change the name of this by clicking on queue right there. And then right down here, there's a button in the top left corner that says set. What that does is it brings up the keyboard again. And this is between service. Okay. Perfect. Cool. So now if we look here again, we have queue list number 1 is between service. The second one is called hosts. Let's just rinse and repeat right quick. Cool. Let's get like 4 or 5 of them in here. So I'm gonna hit load. There's a video that apparently happened. You can see that everything kind of changed there. I'm gonna hit record, and I'm gonna scroll down to queue list 123, and I'm gonna record it there. And it already understands what we're doing right now. So this is video. Cool. I'm gonna clear everything. Then I'm gonna load whatever the next one, PC impact. Good stuff. Record. Interestingly enough, I can actually use the syntax. I can do a lot more here than what we've been doing. Right. So I've hit record already. Record. I want to record to queue list 123. So I can actually just type it in. Because I know that's what I'm doing. I'm saving some scrolling, right? And I hit enter, and it's asking me what I want to label it. This is PC impact. Good stuff. And then, in fact, I can even load all these as well. So I can actually come over here. I can say load queue lists, and then I can just look at it. Queue list 5, yeah. So five is the next number here, right? So I hit enter on that. So I've loaded queue list 5. I can record queue list. I'm recording it to queue list 123. And this is going to be praise and worship. PNW. Good stuff. Okay, that's enough. We have 5 of them in there, right? Oh, the power of this. Y'all already know where I'm going. I'm excited. This is really good for base settings. Okay? So here we go. So we have order service. I'm going to click on it. And then because I have it opened over here, we can see it here. Because I have it open here, I can actually see that this is the first queue that we're in. I already see a problem. It's not a problem. It's just something I got to explain to you. So the question is, how do you get to the next queue in this queue list? Because if I just click on the queue list again, it turns it off. Right? That's all it's doing is just turning it on and off. And it's only going through that one queue list. If I look over underneath here, there's modifiers everywhere. We've been using the toggle modifier, because that's toggling it on, toggling it off. Instead of toggle, I can say go. So what that means is when I click on it, it goes. And then if I click on it again, it goes to the next scene. I click on it again, it goes to the next scene. And it goes to the next scene. And it goes to the next scene. And then, because the way it's set up in the deal, it should revert back to the very beginning.
Okay.
The power of this is, you see these faders over here? What I can do is, there's a modifier on the bottom left here called assign. I can click on the assign button, right? Sorry. Then I can click over here and say, which queue list do I want to assign? I want to assign this queue list. Where do I want to put it? I can click over here and say, I want it to be right there. So now I have a fader that has this queue list in it. So that when the service starts, I hit play. This should be working. This the fader level is important. And then there's these other buttons. I can go back, right? So cool, yeah. So I'm here at the beginning of service, and then once we're into the next element, I click play. Right? Then I'm in the next element. It's a video. And all I'm doing is hitting one button, and I'm walking through the order of service. The, again, the significance of this is I can build it over here, but to simplify my life, I'm going to put all of that effort into one fader. I can still go through it because I want to be able to see it all, right? I want to make sure, I want to be able to show it to everybody and make sure this look good, this look good, this good. All right, bet. This is where all of that basic effort is going to live. And I keep saying the word basic because there's ways to do all of this, right? The way that I'm recommending right now is we use something potentially like this, or we can keep it, in a list. I don't really care. We can do a list that goes that way, but we leverage this for all of our base changes, right?
And if on the day of service somebody says, no, cut down that light or add that light, you just do it manually.
You can, absolutely. But what I'm getting at is we can leverage, so let's get into like PC Impact, right? Let's go praise and worship. This is praise and worship base. It has no fancy lights, no fancy colors. We can leverage
LEDs.
Yeah, we can leverage other cue lists to build in that fancy stuff. This just gets us from one element to the next. This just deals with our base. Right? And then once we're ready to transition to the next element, we click on that and it gets us out of that and it gets us into the next thing. But my point simply being, I keep saying that, but it might be that if we're in, again, that praise and worship one, right? And we already have some cue lists for this. I might be using other cue lists to add in color. I might be using other cue lists to add in movement, right? I might be using other cue lists to make things move faster and slower and all this other type of stuff, right? I might be using all of this other stuff for that other. I can make it fancy, but I don't have to worry about the base because it's all being taken care of with one cue list.
Right.
You feel me? That way I can just have fun. I can just focus on having fun, and then it's like, okay, snap, we're moving on to the next one. No big deal. I click on this, and I tell it to clear everything to get into the next element, right?
And so, did you just have your license down right here?
No, I would have to tell it to turn all those off. I would have to tell it to do all that stuff. But you get my point,
And
right?
get back control over there, you gotta cut that off and hit, the off button over here?
You can, yeah, absolutely. So if I wanted this guy to turn off in particular, I can just off and hit the play button over here. Now it's turned that playlist off. All I have is what other cue list I have on. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
I just wanna make sure I hit it right, cause
Mm-hmm.
I think that last Sunday I did, you told me to bring the house up.
Yeah.
I think I had the house light, and you told me, I think was it 19 or 15?
It was 15. Let me get a battery for this guy real quick. One second. Not a battery, but a charger for it. Who wants to play with it? Go for it.
So this is the lights, the fixtures individually itself.
Yeah.
So we select the light that we want to play with over there. And then we use this to adjust it. But now if we want to adjust the whole scene, we pick it over here. And like whole stage. And then we go in and modify, insert, merge onto this base, because this base is whole stage.
Correct.
Okay. So that's when we use the modifiers when we have a base.
Yes.
I don't know what you just said. I'm not following your.
I think
I'm following what I have on paper. I can't
Right.
listen because I'll get confused if I start listening to what people think it is.
Go back up here.
Oh, what's up?
No, I was just saying, asking that basically the modifiers are used to modify a base to make a change.
What do you mean by modifiers, though?
When you use insert, replace, remove. So like we got the base right here of post stage.
Oh, that's
But you
interesting.
want to add some color into it, so you gotta merge
You
something
can.
into that.
You really could.
Okay.
Again, there's a lot of ways we could do this, right?
Okay.
So one way I'm suggesting is to leverage potentially one cue list to only work with our house and stage.
Okay.
That's all it controls is house and stage. We don't have to make it that simple. We can make it to where these cue lists have absolutely everything inside of it.
Gotcha. So the whole order of service for Father's Day, we can put it right there in 123.
You could absolutely. We could put it in number one and be done with it, right? And we just hitting we showing out by just pushing one button.
Right.
And like the speed, like we just working with the speed masters, right? Like that's as simple as it could be. There's a lot of efforts to get to that point, I assure you, but that's as simple as it potentially could be.
So say like you had a song
Mhm.
playing, and as soon as they start that song, could you program the times?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be getting into the effects
In
aspect
that,
of it all.
but in that list, right? In that,
We would
program time.
like to like have it timed to the like have like on like a beat drop or something like you know at this point you already know it's gonna happen. So
You want
5
to get
seconds in,
brighter.
boom,
And go
you
there.
know.
Right.
we could absolutely.
That's some serious predictability.
Well, but
Even
even
it's pre-recorded or even just like
no, like let's walk.
If it's pre-recorded, yeah.
No, well let's walk through that thought process, right? I'm gonna turn some of these things off that we're not using. Oh, I got this go on. Let me turn I'm flipping it to toggle. So now I want to toggle that off, toggle that guy off, and so now we just have. I'm gonna get rid of all this extra stuff that I don't necessarily need. All right, cool. Something else is still on. What else is on? Who else is on? Who else is on? No, that's the LED power. We always need that to be on. Somebody's on. There you are. Cool. All right, cool. Let's take that thought process though, right? So over here we have our cue list. We have between services, host, video, PC, impact, and then praise and worship. Cool. Let's walk through it. So I'm gonna hit play. We're in praise and worship. It's beautiful. Let's imagine we've listened to the song and we know that there's a moment where we just want one center light to happen, right? Just on the stage. We just want that one center light. What I can do is I can hit the load button here. I'm going to click on the cue list again. Oh, yeah, this is good. Click on cue list 123. It's going to ask me, this is new because there's more than one cue inside of it. It's asking me, hey, you asked me to load. Which cue do you want me to load? And so then I can come in here and I can actually pick and choose which cue list. I want to start beefing up this next one, this praise and worship. So I'm going to click on load that cue list. Beautiful. So now I can modify it however I need to, right? So I can say, hey, stage all, I want all the stage to go away for right now. And I want to add in just one spotlight. I know that I have a group for the spotlight. I know y'all see it, don't y'all? Yeah, y'all see it. I know you saw it. Cool. I don't even like that. I don't even want that one. I want a fancier one, right?
Good one for the DJ. You have a good one
Yeah,
for
I don't have
the
a
DJ.
group for it though. But we can just grab it. It's a cue. So I'm gonna grab these guys here up there. Again, this is something we're gonna walk through here in a little bit. I'm gonna turn that until they turn on. F is focus. I'm gonna do one light at a time. Wrong direction. There she goes. Boom. Boom. All I'm concerned about right now is just getting it in place, and I'm going to change the way it looks here in a little bit, okay? But a boom. Cool. Give or take, something like that. I want to change the color just for kicks of both of them so that they match our colors of our regular lights. And then I'm going to add in I want that light to be small. Oh, we fancy now. Oh, we fancy now. Too small. All right, cool. Something like that. And now I can see that because they're smaller, it's not hitting the exact same, so I'm going to turn one of them off. go back into changing the look, and I want those lights to just be right there in the middle, right? Cool. That's a spotlight, right? So I've modified, right? Um, I've Okay, good, yeah, good. So what I've done is I've turned all of these other lights down. That's the reason I loaded it, because I want those other lights to turn down, right? And I want this to turn on. So now I'm gonna choose record, and this is we went full circle to get to this point here. No, we're good, we're good. So I hit record, and then I want to record this new scene into this guy, 123. Hit record, and it's gonna ask me because it's recording it as a cue list number 6, which is the next one. This is praise and worship spotlight. Cool. And then I hit enter on that, and then I click, and it goes back to whatever it was. So I'm gonna choose open 123. So it's back in praise and worship. So it's still in praise and worship. The next scene, which is number 6, is praise and worship spotlight. I hit play, and then it gives me that. So my point simply being, there might be a time where we want things to change in the song. We can build that in, or we can have cue lists that create that. But we have options is the biggest point that I want you to kind of get your mind around. And then even here, right, I can go back to where we were. It is a kind of funny way, but we have to play around with that, right? All right, sir. Yeah, I'll make this video available. Right? Yeah, I'm recording. Good stuff, then. All right, thank you so much. Cool. And that move was probably too big of a move for us to do, but you get my point, right? I can add a spotlight, I can add whatever onto the cue list as I'm going, as long as I'm doing it in a sequential manner.
See, when you asked timing, I thought you meant literally timing. I thought you meant that there was some type of way that we could literally time it, like 2 minutes into that setting, bam, something appears. So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's actually what I was asking.
Okay, that's what I thought you were asking.
But now that we have it set, let's do it.
Basically, you said you don't need the timing. Your timing is.
No, but you can, right? You can. So like, so I'm gonna zoom in on here. So we have triggers. Right now it's set to manual. I click on manual, and then in the bottom section here, there's a set button.
Okay.
Then I can say manual wait. I can tell it to wait.
Okay.
And then what is it waiting for? What is it waiting for? Or is it this fader? It's one of these to where we can set the timer, trigger time. Is it trigger time?
Okay.
We can set timers for stuff.
Okay, so we can. That's a good. That would be neat if we could do something like that. But like I said, that's some serious predictability, because you never know with the singer how they're gonna take the song.
But see, that's where.
So I like it doing it the way he did.
Yeah.
But even in rehearsal, they can the spirit. You can't. That's huge predictability. You can't do that. I like it better the way he just did it.
Yeah. And then you can.
Yeah, when you need it. Yeah. Because then we're trying to prescribe too much.
Yeah. So here we go. So there's these in fade and in delay. That's really what I was kind of getting at. So we're currently in praise and worship here. I guess we can back it out.
Look at you.
Yeah, it did it on. It's
Well, maybe you did it.
Yeah, but it should have waited until I got there. Oh, it's an in delay. So here we go. So that's important. So this guy right here, I added an in delay. Oh, this is why it confused the mess out of me. Because remember back in the day we used to do this for the dance teams? I used to like, as long as everybody hit play at the same time, everything's going to work out and it's going to flash and everything, but the timing has to be perfect when you hit play on the music and you hit play on this here. It's because this thing is called in delay. Whenever the previous one comes in, it's going to delay 5 seconds in this situation before it goes into this next scene.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that 5 second countdown starts once the previous one starts.
So that's how you could do it. Technically, do the timer.
And so
You
what
could,
you're
yeah.
asking for, I think works better like if we're showing a video and we know the exact minutes or seconds of the video, and we know when we want to transition,
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do it.
then it works better in those kind of scenarios to me because those are fixed moments.
Or
You know what I'm saying?
Like I was thinking like if Epiphany or at the top of the song or
Yeah,
transition
now
of
if
the
a
song.
dancer, that's a fixed time, but just singing in general, you don't know how a singer's gonna take a song.
Well, like I said, like at the top.
But
like, you got
Epiphany
the intro.
and yeah, Epiphany and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And so again, how this works again is once I get to the previous one, so right here in PC Impact, as soon as I go to this next one, it's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3,
In
4,
dog years, it's
5,
dog
and
years.
oh.
Does it have a 5 second
What is this
delay?
trigger time? This is trigger time. Hold on, let me trigger time. Let me fix this real quick. Hold on. Y'all are fancy. No, I'm not clear. How do I get rid of this? Let me double check something. Oh, it's trigger time. So trigger time is the thing I'm looking for. So let me get rid of this delay time then. 0 seconds, yeah. Cool. So in delay is 0. Trigger time, I'm going to set that to 5 seconds. Cool. So I'm going to back it up. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5.
There it is.
Give or take 5.
Yeah.
It's I probably was counting too fast. I was excited. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There it is.
I don't like it though. I don't like having that on there though. But you get the idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't set it to 0. How do I clear it? How do I get rid of this? How do I get rid of this? How do I get rid of it? Delete isn't going to be right. I want to delete. There's a way to delete.
It says delete.
No, that's the modifier for deleting this queue. I want to.
It's just 0, 0.
Yeah.
So it lets you set to 0.
0 is going to make it start immediately. Oh, it didn't take. So I'm confident if I come back here. Once I go back into praise and worship, it immediately jumps because it's saying 0 time. There's a way to clear it though. Usually if I hit set, there's a button on the bottom to get rid of it. What is it deleting?
So since
Anyways,
it's 12 and we still got a program for tomorrow, can we end this session if you don't mind?
Okay. We talked about cue lists. Man, we didn't get through. Man, I was talking for a long time, huh?
But it was good.
I feel like we have to continue this
We do.
tomorrow. Next. Are you all available next Saturday?
I gotta be here anyway. I got lights next weekend.
Yeah, I think I got. You got one?
Okay. Am I recording? There you go. Cool. All right. So let's just walk through tomorrow, right? So who has the order of service?
Right here.
Cool. So again, we talked about adding cue lists. We don't necessarily have to pull the trigger on that just yet, right? So I'm gonna delete what we just created over here. I'm gonna delete it anyways. Cool. We'll make it again next time. So now what we're doing now is careful with that. We want to set our base. We always want to set the base look first. Cool. So we know at the beginning of service, between services, it looks like this. Beautiful. Then we don't need hosts, right? Because there's no host this Sunday. So I'm gonna use the modifier for move. Host stage just out of the way, right? While the pre-service, the countdown is happening, this makes sense, right? As a look for that, because they're going to be watching the screens as they're walking in.
What do you have on?
This is, it should have been between services. This is what I meant to have on, sorry. This is what I meant to have on, yeah. There it is. That's the better look. I'm like, it looked funny.
Okay.
So we're between services, and then what's the first thing that happens after that?
You have the recording G3.
Yeah. So that's we can stay there.
You want to stay there for it?
Yeah, because people are watching it, like, and they're coming in. The biggest thing is people are coming into the building, and they're conversing with each other and all that good jazz. So I think it makes sense just to keep it at between services.
Okay.
Cool. So we'll leave it there. And then after that is going to be Pastor Clark's impact moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, call to worship.
Yes.
So I'm going to hit move, and we already have PC impact, so I'm going to move that over. Cool. So this the second
Is
thing.
that okay then?
Let's just take a look at it, right? So I'm going to turn this off. It's full stage. House is up, so Pastor Clark can see, right, what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned this guy off, something changed. Sputniks.
Yeah.
The Sputniks. So with the Sputniks, you guys can see the Sputniks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're at the top there. Anyways, so when I flip this guy off, you'll see the Sputniks pop off as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like no one's gonna notice that. But it's like I just wanted to be consistent. If we're gonna have Sputniks on, let's keep them on. If we don't want them on, don't keep them on. All right. So in this situation right here, this is where the modifiers will come
Add in the
Mhm.
Sputnik.
So I'm gonna click over here to Sputniks, roll that all the way up to, with the wheel, just roll up to 100%. Record.
You gotta hit
Merge, yeah.
Number
Bada bing,
2,
bada boom.
and then you gotta hit clear.
Clear. And that's it. I didn't have to load anything. All I had to do was say, I wanted to add something. I'm merging this into it. Cool. Okay, so PC Impact just doing its thing. And then what happens after that?
The Cardell Booker, the
Cardell
dance
Booker,
worshiper.
the dance, the singer, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So right now we have video next. So I'm gonna move that out the way as well. So I'm gonna choose the move modifier, move this video out of my way. Cool. And I'm gonna move praise and worship low over.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna jump into praise and worship low. And let's take a look at that. I'm gonna let go of PC Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a big move? Is that a big change for y'all?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
not for me, but that's a big change.
That is a big change, isn't it?
Can we slow
The transition of
Yeah,
it.
slow it down.
Yeah. So this is between services right here.
Let's get ready to worship.
Yeah, and then it goes into the worship starter. When Pastor Clark comes out, it comes into here.
It's not a big transition.
Yeah, I'm inclined to start edging down. So instead of the house, what I'm talking about is the house,
Mm-hmm.
because the house change is so big here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to leverage PC Impact to get us halfway there. So now I'm gonna grab the house lights. I just want to see what they're at. So they're at 100%. You can see the up here they're at 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So I've selected them, and I'm gonna put them at. Let's drop them down to 75%. That way we can. Well, before I even commit that, let's go to praise and worship low. It drops it down to 25%.
25%, yeah.
So I want to find from 100 to 25, somewhere in between is what I'm looking for, right? And again, it's not a linear scale, right? So under house, I'm going to grab that and set it at, again, 75%. That's the only reason I came up with 75, 100, maybe not even 75, maybe like 60%. Whatever, right? We're splitting hairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing is I want there to be a I'm going back to 75. I want there to be a difference. I want to be a gradual change as
Not
opposed
a
to a
big,
big change. People notice big changes.
Mm-hmm.
Gradual changes are kind of like whatever, right? So same difference. The only thing we did is we modified the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna hit record,
Mm-hmm.
merge these new settings into
Hit
PC Impact. Yeah, PC Impact. What this does is we have full 100% lights during between services and everything's kind of going on. People are walking in. Pastor Clark comes out. We dip
Okay.
a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. And then when Cardell Booker comes out, we just make a small adjustment.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It's just a small move, right?
Much better.
And now we've tricked them into getting into this super dark environment without them noticing that they even did it, right? Cool.
And then we go to prayer moment with Pastor.
Prayer
You said
moment
you
with
wanted
Pastor.
the house low.
House low, cool. So I see these other cues in here called prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just see what they look like. I don't like it. Cool.
That's too big of a transition.
Yeah, this is Cardell doing his thing here.
Can we just modify what's already in here? Just make adjustments?
You can,
Instead of making a
absolutely.
new one? So you'll hit the modifier and move it here.
I'm gonna move, yeah, move, that guy up there, right? Cool.
And let's just make changes within prayer.
Look at you, fancy lady. So let's
No,
click.
that's not fancy. That's basic, Mr. Clarence.
Yeah, no,
That's not
it's good.
fancy.
That's I love it. So exactly, we're gonna grab
That's not
house,
fancy. That's basic.
house to 75%,
You a mess, yeah.
because we were at 25%. We just want to come back to where past. In fact, we probably could just go backwards in the PC input.
Could you copy PC input?
Yeah, we could. I mean, we could just grab this. Same difference. We're doing the same thing, right? But we're keeping it going. Well, we could have just copied it and changed the name. We definitely could have. But nonetheless, we've just changed the parameter for the house.
What was it at before?
100%.
Okay.
So we changed it to 75%. Record. We're merging these settings into prayer. Bada bing, bada boom. So we have again Cardell Booker's doing his thing. Da 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 da.
And so while Cardell Booker is going on, if I want to do like motion lights,
100%. You have
LEDs, all that kind of stuff, I can add all of that manually.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
And then when Pastor Park comes up, boom, we bring up the house just a little bit, so people feel like, okay, now I can start praying and all that good jazz.
Then we have the spoken word.
Spoken word. Okay.
So we're going from this to spoken word, and you wanted the house even down lower for that, right? Because you said you wanted a spotlight on him.
Which one is, yeah, I was gonna say, there's one, but the other thing she said is he moves.
So we want to give ourselves a base. So in this situation right here, I'm going to hit load. Let's just load prayer. Let's modify prayer, and then we're going to save it as a new playlist, right? A new cue list, sorry. So we've loaded this here. Let's modify our house first. I'm going to start, I want to be systematic with it. I'm going to start with the house stuff and then work my way down. So I'm going to click on house. It initially is at 75%. I want to set that to, Cardell Booker was down to 25%, so we might go down to like, let's go 35% just for kicks, right?
Okay.
Cool. So that gets us not as low as Cardell was, but a little bit. Let's go even higher than that. Let's go to 45%. Cool. That's it. People can still, let's go back to 35. It's a small change, but I like this better. It's relative, right? So you're just picking and choosing, right? But in my head, this makes sense because I still want it to feel intimate. Because my point is I'm trying to draw attention to that center stage. So I'm taking attention away from the audience, and I want to push it towards the stage. I also want to take attention away from the band. So stage right, I want to get rid of the band. Stage left, I want to get rid of stage left. Well, I'm still got some of them are still on, but anyways. Stage floor, I'm going to keep on because I don't know if he's going to use it. Cool? So this gives him a base to work with.
Even if he moves. There's still enough lighting
for the entire stage and the floor. Once he comes in tomorrow, then we can make a judgment call as to whether this is good enough or not.
So he doesn't have any bandwidth in it. It's just our band.
And who are we talking about? Cordell is using our band. So
this is the spoken word.
Yeah. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use our modifier for record, and I'm not gonna use any modifiers. Right. So no modifiers are selected. And I'm going to click on the empty space, and this is spoken word. Cool. Spoken word. Easy peasy. So now we have a scene for spoken word. If I clear everything, it's going to go back to prayer, because that's what was currently selected. And now I can click on spoken word. Boom. It just draws all of our attention into that center stage. And then after that is Pastor Park, I'm assuming?
No, it's a song, Most High, Cardell Booker again.
Okay. Good stuff. So we can. This is a slower song, more intimate song, which is.
Well, we can still probably go back to where we had it. We just don't have all of the big movements and everything with it.
100%. So in this situation here, I just need to give ourselves some space. So we can see over here that we're just running out of space because I want to start moving. I want to start putting stuff there, right? I really just want to like clear everything, but then I got to start all over. It's like we have so much stuff.
What we probably need to do is spend a couple of weeks just going through everything.
Yeah. I think after we go through a couple of these trainings, y'all are gonna realize, oh snap, we don't have to keep reusing stuff. I can just make what I need for today. So like, what I'm envisioning is if we keep this as an order of service, which is fine, or we do one cue list, it doesn't matter. But we know how to change it, so I don't need to hunt for something. I just know that I need this to be spoken word that fits I just need whatever number
You
5
need
is.
bases. You need to create baselines, and then we take it from there.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is that I want our operators to know how to change it without us relying on what somebody else created.
Mm-hmm.
So like even I have cue lists on moving lights and stuff like that. That's a beautiful thing, but y'all know how to. I want y'all to know how to be like, I want the moving lights to do this.
Mm-hmm. So now we
You get my point. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So here we go. So moving. I just want to get rid of. I just want to give ourselves some space here. Oh, sorry. I meant to do this. Let me do this again. So hit move. This down. Move. Let me get this out of my way. I want to keep these alpha and omegas together. Move this over here. Intro. I'll move that guy over to the side just for the example. That gives me enough space. I have 3 more spaces to work with. Okay, what are we doing next? We're doing
the song.
Song? Okay, cool.
Most High.
Cool. So what I can do is I can leverage the modifier for copy, praise and worship low, and I'm copying it. Where am I copying it to? Right over there. Good stuff. And so that gives us our base for him. And then after that is what, sermon?
Yes.
Good stuff. And so now I'm gonna
We can use the same sermon, huh?
yeah, let me see what that looks like. That's a big old adjustment, yeah.
Different one.
Well,
Yeah, there's a couple of sermons. There's a sermon I want y'all to use specifically. It's this one actually.
okay.
And you'll see it in a second. Or maybe you won't see it. That'll be
No,
good if you don't see it.
the
Yeah.
spotlight showing.
So, in this,
Is that spotlight getting rid of that glare that we used to see?
well, see
No,
this,
it's
see the big
stairs.
lights, the big lights over here. Both of them are on now. So what they're doing is they're lighting up.
When you say the big lights, what do you? What is
Yeah, big lights on the trusses in the back.
Okay, I see them.
Yeah. So what it's doing is, and I can point to
I
it
know,
on
but
the
I'm just
screen.
asking: is the purpose of that because we're trying to get rid? Remember that glare we were seeing with the
Podium?
yeah.
It doesn't do that.
Okay.
What it
That's
does-
all I was asking.
Okay. What it does do is on our cameras, this section right, and I'm pointing to it in the video feed. This section right here is super dark on camera, and so when we're getting a shot of Pastor Clark, it's like black behind him, and so it was just like so dark. But what we're doing is we're adding light behind him
To make
so
up for some of
that
that.
to make up for that. And then also what it's also doing is it's lighting up the steps over here. So when Pastor Clark walks over to the steps,
He can see.
we can see him.
So we're gonna move this to number 7.
Absolutely. So modifier move, and then we can move sermon over here.
Mhm.
Cool. And the reason it turned off is because everything is based on indexes. So cue list 19 is still is the thing that it's still active or it wants to be active, but now there's nothing there, so it went backwards. So it doesn't know that it moved, right?
But if we hit it, we're
But if you
good.
click it now, we're back into it. Yeah. Good stuff. There's
Okay.
one little adjustment I want to make to this light here. So Pastor Clark was saying that the lights were really hot on him. He's like, "Ooh, you got to turn the lights on. It's like hot." I'm like, "Well, Pastor Clark, we need it because we need to light you up." So he just said, "Can you just keep one on?" That's fine. This one on our right hand side goes over towards the band area, and he doesn't ever do that. So I can actually turn this one off. So I know it's one of these two. I think it's this one.
This one. Okay.
Yeah, cool. So I'm gonna take that one and I'm gonna hit record. I can choose
Just hit remove. Yeah, because you're removing that, and then hit that cue, and then clear it out.
Okay. So now we're going back to it. It's still going to move, but it won't turn itself on. Yeah, so it'll still move, but it shouldn't turn itself on. And it didn't. Perfect. Beautiful. Ooh, fancy over here. Ooh,
And
fancy over here.
invitation.
Invitation,
It
you
should be
really,
going up down here. You can leave it at this for
you
invitation.
really could. We just need band. But anyways, we can move this up, and then we're good to go.
Is the band cage, is the drum cage in the system yet?
It is not.
Because that's one thing I know. Even like every time, like Justin, like that last. I mean, I know we haven't really been doing band shots, so that's something to be concerned about.
No, we can do a band shot.
I mean, I'm talking about like at the end of the service, like
At the end of service, we haven't really been doing a lot of
that's what I'm
shots in
saying.
general. at the end of service.
So when they start playing back up, but then it's like, oh, let's go to the. But then that light actually gives good backlight to the rest of them
Mm-hmm.
when they're playing. But Justin, he doesn't turn it back on.
Mm.
So.
At the end of service?
Mm-hmm.
End of service.
But
like,
that's
we're
what
not,
I'm saying, it's the end of service. So.
yeah, we're not really tripping about the end of service.
Or during the service, you can turn it off.
Especially in the sermon, we want it off, yeah, just so we're not drawing attention to it. Cool. So
Is that his light on? That's what you're talking about, Corn? That's his light on. He's not
He
a
has
part
like
of
a
the.
remote in the.
Yeah, so he's not a part of
we
us.
could just
So-
tie it in if we want, but then there's the
No,
app
no,
or
no.
something.
The only thing that I was thinking about right now is like before we get to the sermon,
Mhm.
we at one time we were trying to just put the lights just on the band as they were bringing out the podium.
Mhm.
So can I just do that manual? I don't want to.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna move this over. So let's talk through it, right? So we have the song finishes. What happens? So we gotta think through these transitions.
Yeah.
Right?
So we have the band. So we can copy that, and then I can just take out everything and just have band, and then go straight to. But I don't know how. We just have to adjust the lighting because I don't want them to not be able to see either coming out with that podium.
I agree with you completely.
No, wait, it still
Wait a
takes
second.
attention.
There's still enough light.
Yeah.
Them moving
Exactly.
If you have a band only, you're still enough light to move the podium.
Yeah, that's fine.
I guess the only thing that's coming to my mind is as of right now we have this is praise and worship and we go into sermon. Oh, it's a slow transition, so we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's a slow transition, I thought it was gonna be a much faster transition, so I was a little concerned about that, but I think we're okay. But yeah, I agree. Like we just need something to draw attention away from the people moving the things on the stage, right?
Yeah, so I was just going to. So we're already dark. I was just gonna reduce stage and increase stage right,
Yeah.
or just hit band only or
yeah,
something.
stage left, stage center,
Yeah.
and stage floor. Get rid of that, right? That gives us Johnny Lee and all that good jazz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Record.
Not insert, not remove. This is a new cue.
Yeah, I should have done this a different way.
Yeah, so we're gonna make a whole new
So
cue.
load this guy,
Mm-hmm.
then modify. Stage floor goes away. Stage left goes away. That was already away. Stage center goes away.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, maybe not all the way out, but just so it's a little
Yeah.
balanced.
That's so they can see.
And then to bridge the gap even more between
And sermon.
yeah, that and sermon, we can take house, so we can take a look at what it's at now. It's at 25%. Let's go in between, right? So at 50%. Cool. That gives us at least something in between. Let's go even 65, right? Cool. That gives us a go between.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna hit record and record this
Put it
new
on
here,
your cue list.
and this is transition.
Band transition.
Band transition.
You try really good with that little one hand.
I am lefty. Cool.
Yeah, so that's good for that.
Mm-hmm. And then quick. Let's just walk through it, right? So we have praise and worship low. He's doing his thing. He's going in. I love it. Band transition. Bada boom. And then sermon. Bada
It's
boom.
a good transition. It's not too out of the way. Yeah.
Not pop here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So Miss Lori, besides the special lights, our base has been set,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in theory, again, we could put this all on one cue list, one button, and we're just
And
cycling
just
through.
do
You really could,
through
right?
it. Yeah, but another
Let's do
day.
that another time. Right? We're okay with that.
Because you just imparted so much knowledge. I don't want my head to just. This was good, Mr. Clarence.
Yeah. And I
HBCU certified. What you say?
It was a lot of information.
It was a lot of information. That's why I have to take notes, and then I'll go home and I'll rewrite my notes and organize them better for myself.
Mhm.
But
I'm gonna have you work on a